I'm Penny. I'm one of the educators at Wollongong Botanic Garden. And I know that at the moment you guys are so excited about planting up your verge, and you've seen some of the most amazing plants that you could potentially use. One of the first things you need to do is go out and look at your site. There's quite a few issues with quite a few sites. Nowhere is perfect. So you might have really acid soil, which potentially could kill some of your plants. You might have compacted ground where people are jumping out of their cars all the time, or you might have an erosion problem. Lots of things to consider. We have an erosion problem right here on this corner. We have people walking past us all the time. They cut the path here. We know they're going to do it, but it's causing erosion and it's causing our path to wash. If we mulch to the very edge here, our mulch will run across the path, go straight into the gutter, and that's no good for our environment. So instead, another option could be that this area here, you could plant up with something like the carex at the back behind me here, one of these grass species. It's got really good fibrous roots. It's going to hold onto the soil here. It's going to slow down that wash and capture all your mulch before it runs off into the gutter. Now, before I mentioned acid soils, and some of you might be thinking, how on earth will I know if I have acid soils? But there's actually some really good indicators. Acid usually also means that the soil is damp for a lot of the time. If you have a look at the weeds that are in your verge, you'll actually get a better understanding of what's going on in the soil. I've got here a creeping ranunculus. Creeping ranunculus only occur where it's actually really, really damp. I've also got here, I've got this little dandelion. Now, dandelions can occur just about anywhere, but the thing about dandelions is they're trying to repair the soil wherever they are. So they can tell us that the soil is compacted. They've got a nice taproot that's trying to break up the soil for you. In this case, they can tell you that the soil is fairly acid. This dandelion here, really, it doesn't look really fabulous. And it's not very lush. It's not really abundant, not vigorous, and that's because here it's growing in full sun. Dandelions would prefer to have slight shades. Now you know you've got full sun. So now that you know those few things, you know that you can grow plants that like moisture, but plants that you're going to have to add compost to the soil when you plant them in, because there's not much nutrition in this soil for here. So we're still on the same verge here. We're not far from where the erosion was, but this section here doesn't get that wash coming across. So it's not as wet as the other area. But look at this part right in the middle. This section here is where people get out of their cars all the time to come and visit the Botanic Garden, which is awesome, but it would mean that if I put a plant here, it would probably be stood on every time. I know that it's not as wet here, and that is because, again, I've got different weeds. So I still have got my dandelions. You can see they're a bit more lush, which is exciting. So they're liking it not being anywhere near as acidic. And white clover does occur where we've got some compaction happening, so people have been getting in and out of their cars, but it also occurs where the pH is at a little bit higher. So I know that this is a bit more neutral here and easier to plant even some of our veggies on the side if you wanted to.